If you want to fucking go right now, I'll step up and fucking do it.
You wanna go now?
You want to go now?
Gentlemen,
I don't give a
please.
fuck about the money.
Gentlemen. Gentlemen.
Stepping back, no one's holding you back. Hey, stop holding me back! Stop holding me back! Stop holding me back! You fucking fag! Fucking vagina! Fuck you! Fuck you, fake fox! Look at you, scared little boy! You scared little boy! You're a child!
Gentlemen, please.
Sorry to tell you, you're saying,
Hey, let's fight now!
yeah, because I didn't care. You're talking the hard
Man,
one.
you fucking son now, you fucking
You're a
asshole!
typical bully. Your whole
Shut up.
life, your whole life. Eddie, tell you what.
Please.
Families are here. Your whole
Please.
life, everyone's scared of you. But as soon as someone stands up to you, you shit yourself.
You're pathetic. You're pathetic.
We'll settle
No,
the
let's fight now! With your son, you fucking idiot.
My son doesn't care. He thinks you're a fucking mother. You show him. Quiet your mum down as well.
Oh! Oh! What's the respect?
Don't ever fucking talk about mom, you fucking asshole. I'll knock you out.
What?
You fucking fight there! Don't talk to your fucking mom! Never!
Fucking how again!
Get the fuck out of here!
Right, I think this interview's over because Thor can't control himself. I'll see you Saturday. See you Saturday, mate. I'll see you Saturday. I'll see you at the weigh-in if you're willing to turn up and not lose your temper.
Eddie, did that wall also disrespect your 2017 performance?
Please. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this press conference has come to a conclusion. We will be having the weigh-ins.
What's good, family? Shout out to my doggy Keefy G for sending in the most boostful coin. So, we just saw there from your man's Eddie Juicy Hall and Thor Juicy Mountain, and they're fixing to have one big juicy fight, no doubt. But yeah. So before we get into my actual fight analysis, because I can't lie, I've been somewhat looking forward to this bash. Yeah, I've been quite looking forward to this juicy bash thing these men are fixing to have at the weekend. But before we go into the analysis, let's address this press conference. And off the rip here, I'm going to say I think Eddie Hall went a little bit too far telling Thor's mum to wind her beacon. That's me personally. Now I get that his argument is, well, she was giving it the mouth. Me personally, I'd avoid aiming anything at someone's mum. Not because I'm sentimental. I'm not one of them cats who says things like, "Oh, I can't believe you." You know what I mean? One of them ones. I just think it's a bit of it was a bad look, and what even more so, or what emphasised to me that it was a bad look was the way all the man fans were carrying on. Yeah, all Eddie Hall man fans. Oh yeah, Eddie, you got in Thor's head, and oh Eddie this, Eddie that. People was way too gassed. Yeah, and now Eddie Hall, listen. All the Eddie Hall man fans been gassing Eddie Hall up. Listen, what we know is Eddie Hall was pulled out about 4 times. And about last week he started saying, "Oh, I've been sick, I got the flu." So all I'm saying is, I don't know, the way you man are gassing Eddie Hall, I get it. Oh, but we Team UK. Listen, I ain't Team no one. Yeah, I got my own bills to pay. How about that? But no. So, like I said, me personally, I'm completely neutral. All that really bothers me about this fight is the fact that if I could bet on what's going to happen in this fight, it's going to be a massive whopping hugfest. This fight is going to prove why the YB's rules need to be introduced. My rules are no clinching, or fighters should be allowed 1 clinch per round. Yeah. Fighters should be allowed to. A clinch should be used and treated as an emergency option. It's not a go-to. It's not a, well, I'm lazy, well, I'm tired, well, I don't know how to box, well, I want to be a scary ass, well, it's not supposed to be used as a go-to. Way too much these days. It's used to as people treat it like a 4th punch. Yeah, you got jabs, uppercuts, hooks, and clinching. That's how it's treated these days. That's not, it kills the whole game. Yeah, if you like clinching, go in. That's what wrestling's for. Do you understand? If you like rolling on the floor with dudes, if you like to get up nice and close and start hugging on some next dude, you know what to do. Yeah? You can join the wrestling team. You can join the BJJ team and roll on the floor you want. But as far as boxing goes, clinching ain't part of it. People really need to get that in their head as well. Yeah? And I've got a feeling, I mean, I've watched some of Thor's fights. They tend to be a bit like that as well. And I can just imagine. And that's what I'm saying here. I hope both men, yeah? I hope both men, since they're doing all this woofing, I hope they don't end up just hugging for how many rounds they're doing. That's what's going to happen here. I bet my life on it. And I'd also bet my life against a stoppage. And no one getting stopped in this fight. As shocking as that may appear, in as much as they're massive and you'd think that it means something, these dudes, I don't know what, I mean, you'd like to think that Thor's got the leverage and got the length and whatever else, but he hasn't shown that yet. Yeah? Now obviously, to be fair to Thor has had 3 fights already, unlike Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall's just been training. Eddie Hall hasn't actually tried to get in the ring yet. Now, I understand to some extent what Eddie Hall's doing. Eddie Hall's idea is, I'm going to save it for fight night and shock him. Now, equally, I can see what Thor's doing. He's trying to get some experience. So the whole narrative of Thor being more experienced is true, but he hasn't really shown much. And it really depends how bad Eddie Hall is, or how bad or how good Eddie Hall is. Because the experience Thor's gained, if Eddie Hall's super good, which I haven't seen, I ain't gonna lie to you, I haven't seen, I mean, I didn't get around to doing it, but I did see quite a few bits of Eddie Hall's training, and I weren't that impressed, to be quite honest with you. He just seemed to have this, for the most part, Eddie Hall had this bum training partner in there. It almost reminded me of, if you know a man called the Pork, yeah? The Pork has this, what would you call it? The Pork has this manservant called Max, and Eddie Hall has a similar kind of setup. Eddie Hall has this manservant that follows him around, and basically Eddie Hall was sparring a manservant, and obviously the manservant's being paid by Eddie Hall, so he was just in there every day getting his head boxed off. But not and it almost looked to me like the man was scared to throw punches back, thinking, wait a minute, if I start putting it on Eddie, am I going to get paid this week? Do you know what I'm saying? It was a bit, the whole setup was weird, and it was weird as well because Eddie Hall was schooling his manservant in training, and then saying like, and almost bragging like, oh yeah, I'm touching you all over. Do you know what I mean? He was like trying to give the guy tips. Oh yeah, well you just need to be more confident. Yeah, he was giving his manservant, who is now sparring, tips on how to be better. It was cringy. I can't lie to you. For someone who don't know nothing about boxing, i.e. Eddie Hall, it was cringy to see his setup was cringy. Now it may have moved on from there. I hope it's moved on. But the little bits I saw, for example, he was training in his house, and it was all just a bit too homely. It was all a bit too much. What's the word? It was a bit too much. His environment, it was all his environment. It was all on his terms. And yeah, Thor hasn't shown that he's going to really be able to take advantage of Eddie Hall's lackings. But in terms of preparation, if this fight was about preparation, Thor would win hands down. He's gone away. He's gone to a foreign camp. He's brought in a professional boxing trainer. I think he's working with that guy. What's the guy's name? The man who lost to Michael Hunter. Yeah, he was meant to be the next best thing, and he lost to Michael Hunter. But anyway, that guy, he brought his trainer in to train him, and he's gone out. Thor, to his credit, gone out of his way to prepare in the best way. Eddie Hall, for me, is taking it as a bit of a joke, and I just hope he can win it. Don't get me wrong. If Eddie Hall comes in, yeah, and shows us some KSI-ness. Because look at KSI. When KSI fought Logan Paul, yeah, he ain't got no skill, but he had pure heart. Now, the way Eddie Hall's talking, he's talking like he's got some heart to show. If he does that, I think he'll win. If he comes in, though, and all he's done is woof, and he goes in there and he's scared, and he don't want to get stuck in, and he ain't doing none of the things he's talked about, number one, the YB going to come on there and give him the long one from the back, 100%. You best believe that. Because the amount of woofing Eddie Hall's been doing, I don't want to see no hugging. I don't want to see no fanning around. I want to see you do what you were saying you're going to do. Yeah? Simple as that. You're getting paid big money, so go in there and execute. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see no hug fest. I don't want to see no big breathing. Because the way you man been woofing before this fight, you best believe, we best see some hands throwing. That's what you best see. Because I've seen these kind of ones before. I mean, look at Kimbo Slice. Kimbo Slice versus Dada 5,000. That's how I think this is going to go. Although that fight, I think that fight ended in a KO actually. But either way, that's how I think this fight ends, but without the KO. I think these men will be even more huggy, even more clinchy. Yeah, I think the minute something lands, or I'm not even sure it's going to take something to land. I just think both men are going to. I think both men are going to become comfortable in the clinch, and that's going to be a default. I mean, again, I hate to say it, but we've seen Mike Tyson do that. Yeah, we've seen Mike Tyson in fights, even really to some extent in the prime of his career, or certainly not far out of Mike Tyson's prime in his career. After 6 rounds, Mike would just become comfortable in the clinch. He'd get tired of working and just start clinching. So even Mike, in some of the best years of his life, got lazy after 6 rounds. So it's really not a stretch to say, and that's why I think if people like Mike Tyson can get lazy in the clinch, that shows how much a clinch needs to be banned. Yeah, clinches should be banned. Apart from you should be every fighter, much like tennis. Every tennis player you get 3 calls against the referee per match. In this boxing, it should be you get 3 clinches per match. Yeah, you best use them wisely. If you want to use them all in the first round, so be it. But you're going to get knocked off for the next 11 rounds. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be like, oh well, I can just keep sucking this guy off. That's what it should be. It's bottom line. Yeah, from now on, anyone who clinches, you try and suck someone off. Listen, I expect here to be held to the same standard. When I go in there with Tyrone, if you see me clinching, I'll tell you straight. Listen, if I go in there, yeah, and all you see me doing is sucking Tyrone off, I'll come out and tell you. I say, listen, truth is, people, I sucked Tyrone off the whole night. I ain't gonna lie to you, and that's what I mean. People think that you man, the YB don't have no double standards. Yeah, if I went in there and ended up sucking him off for 12 rounds, I can't tell you. But listen, truth is, I sucked him off for 12 rounds. Yeah, because that's what. But with that in mind. The same way I'll tell you about how I do it myself. You best believe that's why that people say, why are you always so critical? Well, I'm critical of myself. Yeah? When have you heard me gas myself up or try and make out I'm doing someone I ain't? You ain't. That's the point. I hold everyone to the same standard I hold myself. To the highest standard. So I don't want to see no clinching. I don't want to see no fanning. I want to see you doing. And there's a thing here. Fair enough. Sometimes we get boring fights. But for me, when you've done all the pre-build-up, yeah, you've put out all the documentaries, talking about how much you hate one another and how much you're going to make him pay, you know what I'm saying? That's when I get emotionally invested, and that's when I build expectation. Because guess what? No one didn't ask you, man, to build the expectation for us. You've built the expectation. You, man, could have said, well, listen, truth is, people, we going in there to play touch butt in the park with Ido Portal. Yeah, that's what you could have said. Let's be real now. Yeah, Thor and Eddie could have come out a year ago and said, listen, me and Eddie are going to play touch butt in the park with Ido Portal. Yeah, and at which point, I'd have no problem you going in there and doing that. Yeah, clinching, sucking off in, doing all, you know what I mean, do whatever you want. But guess what? These man ain't talked about nothing about playing touch butt. They've been saying your head's coming off. They've been saying you're getting it. Thor's been saying, how dare you talk about my mums like that? Which is all fair, you know what I mean? Fair play to you. So what I'm saying is to both men, I say this to every fighter, but it's true. Both men, you best go in there. You best remember. Because I think it's almost like fighters seem to forget all the shit they was talking. It's mad. 24 hours before the fight, yeah, they talking the most shit. They get in the ring and all of a sudden, all that woof they had, gone. And all of a sudden, all they want to do is suck the man off. I don't get that. How can you be sitting there saying you can knock his head off? Next thing we know, you're sucking him off for 12 rounds in the clinch. Yeah? And that's the bottom line. From now on, clinching is the equivalent of sucking someone off. Let's get that straight right now. That's the bottom line. And all fighters need to understand that. When you clinch, you are sucking him off. Yeah? So I don't want to hear no more about it. I don't want to hear no, oh, but why be this, but why be that, but why be... I don't want to hear no more. That's the bottom line now. Bottom line. If you engage a clinch, you have sucked the man off. It's as simple as that. And if you don't like, oh, why be this? Why be... I don't want to hear it. That's the bottom line. Because it's not part of boxing. It's called boxing, which means your hands are throwing. Doesn't mean you... Again, join the wrestling team. Join the BJJ team. That's what you need to do. Get out of the sport. We need to get rid of all these clinching sport. All these clinchers in the sport. Get rid of them. Go and join BJJ. Go and join wrestling. There ain't no place for it in this sport. I'm sick of it. The whole sport's been ruined by clinchers. I'm sorry, it has. When you look around really and you think about it, it's been ruined. Yeah? 90%, there's nowhere safe anymore. But I know I've gone on a big tirade about this, but I can just... The reason I'm speaking so much about this point before the fight's even happened, I just know what's coming. I know what's coming. They're both going to be puffing, yeah? After the first round, or after the first 30 seconds, they're all going to be puffing, and then you're going to see them just end up falling in together. Yeah? Falling in together, and trying to throw rabbit punches. And that's another thing I never understood. This whole shtick about rabbit punches. Yeah? Rabbit punches. Do you know what that says about a man's mentality? When you try to throw rabbit punches in the clinch, but yet you don't want to throw no hands on the outside. Do you understand? That shows that you're scared to death of actually boxing. So when, you know what I mean? How many times do we see this, yeah? Boxers will be outside of the clinch and they won't throw shit. But then the minute they're in the clinch, all of a sudden they're trying to throw a whole bunch of combinations. It's like, what? Yeah? I mean, it don't make no sense to me. Wait a minute. When you've got your free hands, when your hands are free, and you're able to do whatever you want, you ain't trying to throw no punches. But the minute you're in a clinch, and you can, you know what I mean? And the minute you're in the clinch and there's no power on the shot, and there's no danger for you, all of a sudden you know what I mean? It's like, what's that about? I never got that. I never understood why people try and throw these little arm punches in the clinch. It don't make no sense, does it? I never got that. Just before the referee splits you up, you see him trying to... What's that doing? Listen, no one has ever scored any damage throwing them rubbish rabbit punches at the end of a clinch. No one's... I don't get it. What are you trying to prove? Oh, I'm hard, because I wasn't throwing no punches before, but now I'm going to try and put a through in and make it look like I'm working. What's that doing? I never got that. I genuinely never got it. All it does is waste energy and piss me off. Yeah? So another rule: anyone who's going to waste time throwing them crappy little punches when you've got your arms all tied up, start throwing before you get there. How about that? Oh no, that sounds too much like hard work. That sounds too dangerous. I'll just wait until he schlongs in my mouth, and then I'll start trying to throw something. It don't make no sense to me. It really don't. It's almost like, bear in mind, people, this is a sport of boxing, yeah? In the sport of boxing, people can have free hands and not do nothing with them. But the minute their hands are all tied up, they're trying to hit someone. It's like Usain Bolt getting to 100 metres and then trying to start running. So it doesn't make no sense, does it? Anyway, listen. All I'm saying is, as long as both men commit to doing what they signed up to do, because don't forget that as well, these men didn't sign up for 3 rounds of BJJ. They didn't sign. They could have done. Listen. They could have easily signed up, and that's my beef here, people. These men could have easily signed up to do 3 rounds of BJJ, 3 rounds of wrestling. So with that in mind, you chose boxing. No one didn't ask you to do that. You chose boxing. You said his head's coming off. So just make sure you go in there and you do what you signed up and told everyone you was going to do. Yeah? And again, the bottom line is, I'm telling you what's coming. Because even though I've told them what not to do, you can best believe what's going to happen. They're going to end up gassed after 30 seconds, and they're going to end up just falling in and hugging. Falling in and hugging. Yeah? That's what's coming next. 100%. If I'm wrong, I'd love to be wrong. I'd love for this fight to end in a stoppage. That would be the best thing for this fight. I couldn't care who it is. I really couldn't. I don't know. In fact, I don't even know who. Even if this fight for me is pure 50-50. Too many things going on. I've seen a little bit from Eddie Hall. I've seen a little bit from Thor. I mean, if Eddie Hall throws his hands and one of them big swings lands, he's going to do damage. Yeah. Thor actually haven't. I think Eddie Hall has more of the X factor, in as much as we don't know how good or bad he is. If you get me, we kind of have an idea about Thor. I'm not that impressed with Thor. I'm not that impressed with him. But again, that's what I said. It all comes down to how good or bad Eddie Hall is. Do you understand? If Eddie Hall's half decent, Thor's in trouble. Because Thor, I haven't been impressed at all with Thor. He's big, but he's kind of big for nothingness. He's just big, yeah. He's not big, and he ain't got no snap on his shots. I don't know what he's been doing in training, but well, I do. But Yeah, he's been doing the standard no good boxing training. He ain't got no snap on his shots. His shots are all pushed because his trainer ain't got a clue what he's doing. Yeah, his trainer hasn't taught him how to turn his shots over, so he's all pushing. Yeah, it's all arms. All you see is arms from Thor. Now to be Eddie, he can kind of turn his shoulder and his elbow into it a bit. So if Eddie can go in there and commit, I probably am leaning more towards Eddie for the X Factor's sake. Either way though, I have to admit, I am going to watch it. That's for sure. It's got my interest. It's got my freak show interest. But if I could bet on this fight, not go into a stoppage, that's what I'd do. In fact, I might even look at the odds. No way this fight going to go for a stoppage. And maybe the odds are going to be good because maybe the casual fans are going to see these two big men and think, oh, it's definitely going to be a KO. Especially the way they're woofing as well. Yeah, with all that woof, maybe everyone's gassed. So yeah, let's see anyway.